It's 2024, it's an election year, and you likely haven't read the Declaration of Independence since you were in 4th grade. Well, this video is going to help you in case you feel like you want to do something about that. I'm willing to submit there's 3 reasons why you haven't read the Declaration of Independence in a very long time. 1, it's an old document. 2, the way we live as Americans, you and I, are very busy. 3, we don't stress the importance of this document and the implications of us not knowing what it actually says. So you have the Crown of England, you have America. They're in relationship, they're brethren, they're fellow citizens of the same nation. English people, English men and women, began to come here to America. Now they initially come for business reasons, religious persecution. You know, the crown has interest in the expansion of the kingdom. And over time, what we see is a breakdown in 4 areas, 5 areas. Law, culture, beliefs, practices, identity. Over a 169 year span, is it right, 69 years? Over a 169 year span from 1607 to 1776, what we see is a breakdown in this relationship. Brother is no longer brother. They now become enemies because of differences, 1, geographical, but law, culture, beliefs, practices, identity. And what we see is the crown saying, we don't care who you are, even though you are our brethren, we're gonna treat you as if we don't know you, we don't care about you, and we can do whatever we want. That's ultimately what this thing boils down to. And this scrappy bunch over here says, well, here's some news for you. We're not gonna go for that. And Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Roger Sherman, and I think Robert Livingston, don't quote me on that. They sit down, Jefferson gets the credit, but they sit down and they pin the words of this United States to this crown over here, severing this relationship. Let's jump into the text. Before we jump in, just a quick thought. Whenever you're reading something that was written a long time ago, I suggest, whether it's the Declaration, the Bible, read it for what it says. Just do that. Before you bring everything you're thinking and who you are and the time period you live in, your own beliefs, just read it for what it says. And so, when we come to the Declaration, we see it in bold-faced letters, the following words. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. So what we have is the where and the who right there. When did this happen? Where is it taking place? And who is saying it? The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. So that's who it's by. This is when it's taking place. Now the writer goes into why. I believe there's 3 points that the writer makes establishing the why as to why this is a unanimous declaration by the 13 United States of America. First point, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another. Flat out. There comes a time when political relationships end. Second point, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. Third point, because this will be talked about, one has to give reasons for ending the relationship. So because he said you should give reasons for why you're ending the relationship, he's going to do the following. And I think he does it in 3 sections. I would break this entire text up into 3 sections. There's a point at which he states what they believe. I think he gives proof to the claims, as he said he would. And then he leaves you with a now what. Those would be the 3. Let's look into the first, what we believe. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The second point is, governments secure these rights. They don't define them. That's important. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So, those who are governed give consent to those who govern, trusting that they will secure their God-given rights. Point number 3, whenever a government repeatedly says screw your rights that are from God, you have 2 courses of action. 1, the people being governed have a right to change it or get rid of it. 2, the same people have the right to set up a new government that secures their rights. And we see it right here. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish and institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles likely to affect their safety and happiness. Point number 4. This should not be taken lightly because human beings are capable of suffering. So you shouldn't rush to make such a decision. You shouldn't rush to change your government, to topple it, to abolish it, to alter it. And you shouldn't rush into the process of trying to create a new one. You are capable of working things out. This is a relationship after all. Here we see it. Governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable. Point number 5, we have been patient in suffering. I won't read the rest, but you see it. He says it right here. When a long train of abuses and usurpations skips down a little bit further, it is their right and their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. Point number 6, the king wants to be a tyrant. He states the history of the present king of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having a direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these United States. Last point of section 1, here is the proof. So remember, he stated it in the beginning. I have to give you reasons for this. I have now said that the king wants to be a tyrant. We've endured this, and we have a right to change this. And here's the proof that the king wants to be a tyrant. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Now, it's at this point in the document, there's a lot there. You can read that for yourself now, having this understanding. Here's the proof. He goes through with all the claims of why the king is a tyrant. And section 3 has 3 subpoints. First is, we have appealed to our British brothers for assistance to do what's right. So he says it here. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their laws, their legislator, to extend unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have told them from time to time, the laws, the legislature, you are trying to do something, you are trying to rule over us, and it's unjust. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity. Now that's a word you need to define yourself. Magnanimity? I can't even say it right. And we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations. So they appeal to their brethren. That's the whole point of point number 1 of section 3. What now? Well, we've gone to our brethren. This is addressed to the king. We've gone to our brethren. Brethren have not been helping. Well, that being said, we come to point number 2, which is choose a side. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, our brethren, as we hold the rest of mankind. Enemies in war, in peace, friends. So draw a side. Last point, it's this. We are officially the United States, and we're going to move as if we are a free and independent nation. And with that, we take all the consequences of that. If that means we lose our businesses, we lose our lives, and we bear the shame of turning against the kingdom. That is the last point of that. Check it out. That these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, to conclude peace, to get alliances, to do business, and do anything else according to being a free people. And in order for doing this, we are willing to sacrifice. This is my favorite part of the entire document. We mutually pledge, with a firm reliance upon the protection of divine providence, we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. So we have 3 sections. What we believe, here's the proof, what now? 13 United States of America unanimously send this to the King of England, Great Britain. You're a tyrant. We're breaking this relationship. And that, my friends, if you stuck it out this whole time, I think the refresher now puts you ahead of the game in terms of people who haven't read this in a long time. You now understand our nation is founded upon the principle of mutual relationship established in liberty, faith, truth, justice. And it has a spirit that says, if that is under attack, if that is being usurped, I have a responsibility, you have a responsibility to do everything we can to make sure that we maintain that relationship, that spirit of liberty. And this is why I made this video, because it's an election year, as I said. And the truth is, many of us haven't read this document in a while. I didn't even get into the Constitution. But in all the conversations, in all the tweeting, in all the videos, If we don't understand who we are by way of what produced this nation, it will be impossible to preserve this nation, to protect this nation. And we can do that, all political differences aside, being citizens of the United States of America. The Constitution ultimately, in my opinion, picks up where the Declaration leaves off. So as you jump into the text, you get familiar, you will see a thread that weaves right into the Constitution. And the truth is this. I don't know if you've ever heard anyone say this. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are not so much about you as they are about your government. You see, one of the mistakes we're making right now is we're like, I have rights, I have rights, I have rights. Second Amendment, 14th, yada, yada. Well, here's the thing. The Constitution and the Declaration are not about you. You are God-given, hence the intro. What you have, your rights are God-given. That we have these texts, these charters, so that government doesn't believe that they have the right to usurp your rights. This isn't about outlining your rights. It's about securing your rights at the hands of people who would like to do you wrong. And it's a big misconception in the middle of all of our content firestorm environment. I don't even have the right phrasing for the world that we live in, where we constantly consume information and opinions. We lose sight of the fact that these documents are more about your government than they are about you and me. And that's freeing. That's actually strength. We can stand on them. That's a good thing. And so I leave you with that because it's really important. And if you don't believe me, just ask, who is the Declaration written to? It's written to a person in government. That's how you know. It's about them.